What does your perspective on life say about you? Perspective is the viewpoint in which a person sees a certain situation or object. Each and every person have different perspectives towards different things. No two people will see things in the exact same way. This usually comes from a person's mindset and the events that have taken place in their lives. From one person's eyes, a situation could be viewed in a total opposite way than another person's. Some perspectives may be positive, some may be negative, some may be both, depending on what the situation means to a person. A person's perspective can simply be different from another's by the position they are in. In Emma Donoghue's novel Room, different perspectives on life are demonstrated between two characters, Jack and Ma. The two had lived in a small shed as hostages to a kidnapper. Although Jack was not aware of this, Jack believed that room was the only thing that existed, causing his perspective on life to be completely opposite from Ma's perspective, who knew this wasn't real life, it was a nightmare. As a child, Jack cannot view life the same way Ma does, simply because Ma has grown up and built a better understanding of the world. But what contrasts between them even more is the different beliefs of what life is. Jack has a positive attitude towards his life in Rome because that's what he's grown up to believe is real. Meanwhile, Ma dreads her life every day, knowing she is trapped and in danger. As their perspectives remain different for too long, Ma explains to Jack that this isn't real life, causing Jack's perspective to drastically change. This change in perspective helped them escape and begin a new life in the real world. Although it comes as a huge change for both Ma and Jack, the effect on their perspectives towards life is helpful. Jack begins to view life in a very different way. He is introduced to all the unfamiliar parts of life and develops a comfortable understanding of what's around him. Both Jack and Ma's perspectives begin to change, caused by the events occurred in their life, good and bad.
Do you remember how Alice wasn't always in Wonderland?
She fell down, deep in a hole.
Right, well, I wasn't always in Room. I'm like Alice. I was a little girl named Joy.
Nah.
And I lived in a house with my mom and my dad. You would call them Grandma and Grandpa.
What house?
A house. It was in the world. And there was a backyard, and we had a hammock. And we would swing in the hammock, and we would eat ice cream.
A TV house?
No, Jack, a real house, not TV. Are you even listening to me? When I was a little older, when I was 17, I was walking home from school.
Where was I?
You were still up in heaven. But there was a guy, he pretended that his dog was sick.
What guy?
Old Nick. We call him Old Nick. I don't know what his real name is. But he pretended his dog was sick.
What's the dog's name?
Jack, there wasn't a dog. He was trying to trick me, okay? There wasn't a dog. Old Nick stole me.
I want a different story.
No, this is the story that you get. He put me in his garden shed. Here. Room is the
In
shed.
Sherman's play Patience, the main character Ruben's life takes a major turn in a bad direction, which causes a lot of confusion on his perspective towards life. Ruben was a very content man. As a really wealthy business owner with a wife and family he lived his life proudly, believing that everything was perfect with the routine-based life he lived. His perspective on life was unclear because he thought routine and making money was the way to happiness. For Ruben, this all changed when he lost everything he had and his life began to fall apart. He lost his job, his wife, and his family, and was left alone full of confusion and doubt on what he brought upon himself. His attitude towards life became very negative, and he struggled to view things positively. His perspective towards what life truly meant shifted from unthought of to negative to slightly positive when he began to understand how his life turned out this way. Feeling stuck between viewing life in a positive or negative way is very common and can happen to anyone that falls into eye-opening situations. Ruben fell into this trap and became responsible to find the meaning of it all through a positive perspective. Between these characters, confusion on how to view life and its events is demonstrated clearly. A person's perspective on life all depends on what their personal lives brought upon them, and no two people will view everything in the exact same way.